saw a lecture for Sheikh Nu'man Ali Khan. He's saying some of the younger brother and sister telling him that even I don't even think I belong in this religion. This is so much, and I'm not that good to fit into this, right? Brother and sister, this is from the shaitan. I want you to pay attention to this. Every religion, every group, every philosophy, every party has stars. The brothers bought a camp to make the first Muslim camp in New York. And when we were looking in the camp was owned by Jewish brothers, and it was all the time run by Israeli organizations. In the library of the camp, the history of the great figures in the state of Israel, right? And each one gets a package from the Herzl to Golda Meir to Ben Gurion, all these leaders of the Zionist movement until the establishment of the state of Israel, all the way to Netanyahu, and saying these are the great people in our history. Now, what is your role in the future of the state of Israel? Right? The endowment of Uthman ibn Affan. And when I was checking what is the endowment, the endowment is like a trust that he left behind, is still being used and is still producing income, and the annual income from this endowment is 50 million Saudi riyal. And it is all given to the poor and to the hospitals and this and that. And there is a date market. In the date market, I saw a sign saying, we ran out of the date from Uthman's farm and Uthman's water well. Uthman still have farm and water well? Yes, it is. And I'll explain to you in a few minutes. So, yes, he died 1400 years ago, but the light from him and the guidance and the lesson that we learn as a Muslim community is still coming. Right? Now, let us get to who is he? Sayyidina Uthman, he and Prophet Muhammad, they meet in the fourth grandfather, Abd Manaf. So, Prophet Muhammad from Bani Hashim, and Sayyidina Uthman from Abd Shams, but the father is Abd Manaf, is the father of the four, so they are cousins. And they both Qurayshi, and they both elites from the elites of Quraysh. Sayyidina Uthman was extremely rich person. He is the richest companion among all the companions, by far. Now, what exactly we want to discuss tonight? A few things. Who is he? How did he become Muslim? His marriage, his immigration. He immigrated twice, one time to Abyssinia, which is Ethiopia, and the other time to Al-Madinah, which is Yathrib. Right? And what is the main feature of Sayyidina Uthman? What is the striking feature that made him so special? I'm not going to tell you now, but there are four. Four that make him unique, and no one can even match him in these four criteria. Sayyidina Uthman, his marriage, he all the time wanted to marry a beautiful young woman from a very good house. Her name is Ruqayya. His father is Muhammad ibn Abdullah, who was not a prophet yet, and her mother is Khadija. And the two families are the elite of the elite. And Uthman was that kind of in that level. Uthman before Islam was known to be the following. Even though he was the richest person in Mecca, but which in general means arrogance and aloof and you think you're above all. No, but Sayyidina Uthman, even though he was the richest, but the most humble. He has haya, and inshallah I'll explain haya in 10 minutes. Now, it will take me 10 minutes to explain what haya, in a few minutes inshallah, but he has haya that is unmatched. To the point, one day, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Rasulullah was sitting at home. Sayyidina Aisha was there, and it was hot weather, so the Prophet was laying down like that, and part of his thigh was exposed. So someone knocked. He said, who? They said, Abu Bakr. Let him get in. But the Prophet stayed sitting the way he was. And then, a few minutes later, the door knocked. Who is this? Umar. He said, let him in. But he still did not change his position. And then the door knocked. Who? Uthman. He got up, straightened himself, and he sat in a very conservative, formal sitting because Uthman is here. And inshallah, again, we'll explain when we get to Haya why that. Sayyidah Aisha told him, Ya Rasulullah, when my father walked in, because Aisha bint Abu Bakr, when my father walked in, he still stayed the way you are. When Umar, you didn't change. But when Uthman, you get up and you straighten yourself and you sat straight, why that? He said, Ya Aisha, ألا أستحي من رجل تستحي منه الملائكة? Should I have haya, modesty, from a man that the angels have modesty towards him? Right? And this is a very big deal, right? And inshallah, we're going to give the haya, what is haya exactly, and what does it mean in our deen, and what is the big status of Uthman in this, inshallah, very soon. Let us see how he got married. He all the time was wanted to marry this lady, Ruqayya, the daughter of Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Her mom is Khadija. But when he decided, she was already got engaged to Utbah ibn Abi Lahab, which is, Tabbat Yada Abi Lahab wa Tab. That's his son. Here, he's her cousin because Abu Lahab, Prophet Muhammad uncle. So, khalas, it's too late. But Osman got depressed. He got very sad. And that was it. He went to his aunt. His aunt was a very wise woman. That requires another lecture. He went to his aunt and she said, what's wrong with you? You're different. Are you suffering? He said, Ruqayya had got engaged to Utbah ibn Abi Lahab, and that was the only one that I really wanted to marry. She said, I tell you what, I have good news. She said, what? He said, what? She said, there is a new prophet that has been giving the message in our area. He said, what do you mean? She said, there is a man that says he's a messenger of Allah, and it's a big news. You didn't hear? I said, no. So he walked straight to Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr is a friend of his. And he asked Abu Bakr, did you hear what my aunt said? He said, what did your aunt say? She said that there's a new prophet that has been sent to us. He said, Sadaqat khalatuk, your aunt is correct. He said, who's he? He said, Muhammad. Then look at Sayyidina Uthman's response. He said, Al-Amin, the honest, the trustworthy. That's what Sayyidina Muhammad nickname. Al-Amin. He said, Naam, Al-Amin. He said, and then he paused. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, Ya Uthman, you are one of the people that we respect. You are a very wise man. When we have difficulty, we come to ask your opinion. Do you really think that worshipping this idol is normal while Allah, the Creator, we disregard this? He said, no, you have a point. He said, then what do you want? He said, take me to Prophet Muhammad. And he went, and right away he accepted Islam. See how fast it is? And you can ask yourself, how come it's so fast? You know what, brothers and sisters, think of this. If your heart is pure and clean, wallahi, you will not hesitate to adopt any good thing in your way. You will go for it right away. That's why you see people, when they see some good project, they run to it. Something that you have to do to help this or to visit this, whatever it is, no hesitation. Why? The inside is clear. So Sayyidina Uthman had nothing, no arrogance, no diseases of the heart, even though he was a billionaire, right? But it didn't get to him. Sayyidina Uthman was very well liked and well loved. Here's now the good news started. The good news is Abu Lahab was the worst uncle you can get. Sayyidina Muhammad. Are you awake? طيب. Don't close your eyes. Abu Lahab was really a lousy person. He did what nobody else was able to do to damage Sayyidina Muhammad's credibility, to hurt the da'wah, and this and that. That's why in the very beginning there was a surah was revealed, Tabbat yada Abi Lahab wa tab, which is damage to Abu Lahab and his wife, the woman that's carrying the straw and this kind of thing. Then his wife, her name is Jamil, she got furious, Abu Lahab got furious, and they went to the children. He said, divorce Muhammad's daughters. So this is, why? That is it. Abu Lahab is a strong man and Jamil a strong woman. So their son Utbah right away divorced Ruqayyah. And that was who became the happiest person on earth? Sayyidina Uthman. Now Ruqayyah is available again. And in the marriage, I just want you to listen to, it's not that important, but just take a picture of this marriage. Here, Sayyidina Uthman was very handsome, very beautiful person. Ruqayyah, Prophet's daughter, was very dignified, very respected, and also a very beautiful woman. Look at the wedding. Who is the woman that put whatever makeup, whatever it is for Sayyidah Ruqayyah and make her ready for the marriage? Who is doing this? Sayyidah Khadija, al-Mu'mineen, right? And who is the father? Sayyidina Muhammad, who is the one that is staying in front of her, whatever it is, the marriage and so on and so on. And the people of Mecca were singing, ما في, خليني أقول لك, I'm not very good with songs, so just be patient. Yeah? أحسن زوجين رآهما إنسان رقية وزوجها عثمان. The most beautiful couple that any human being saw is Ruqayyah and her husband Uthman. That was the beginning of the song. The rest is not important. But I just want you to know it was a beautiful night in Mecca. Uthman, the happiest man now, is marrying Muhammad's daughter. But here's the catch. Sayyidina Uthman wanted to marry the daughter of Muhammad. But now he married the daughter of Rasulullah. It's a big difference. And he became Uthman the Nur. Uthman, the one was light. Right? And Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Inshallah, we'll find you a good wife. And then, you know that Sayyidah Ruqayyah died at mid-20s. Right? She died during Ghazwat Badr, right? And we're going to get to it later, but as soon as the iddah is over, as soon as this few months is over, Prophet Muhammad went to Uthman himself. And he told him, Uthman, do you want to get married? So he's shy. I was married to your daughter. I cannot say yes, even though this is normal at this time, right? He said, I'll marry you, my other daughter, Kulthum. And then Sayyidina Uthman married Kulthum, which is Prophet Muhammad's daughter. And now his title became, not on earth, among the angels, Uthman Dhun Nurayn, Uthman the one with two lights. That was his title among al-Mala' al-A'la, the angels. Unfortunately, in a few years, Sayyidah Kulthum died also Both of them died with measles, because at that time it was a killer disease. So the Prophet went to him. He said, "Ya Uthman, if I have a third daughter, I would have given it to you." And I want you really to think with me. Any father, any father in this world want the best for his daughter. Fact, right? And trust me, anyone will marry Prophet Muhammad's daughter in a blink of an eye. No hesitation. They were, when it comes to family, great. Beauty, wonderful. Who's the father? Who's the mother? She cannot get any better than this. But the father himself is going to the same man and saying, like, I'm marrying you, my second daughter, and after she died, if I have a third one, I will give it to you. I don't. Right? And there is no human being since Adam until Prophet Muhammad, there is no one that married two daughters of any prophet, let alone the final messenger of Allah. And this is a great honor. This is a great honor. And in the wedding night, Prophet Muhammad was giving Ruqayya his recommendation as a father. He said, "Ya Ruqayya, أحسني إلى أبي عبد الله فإنه أقرب أصحابي مني خلقا." Ya Ruqayya, be so kind to Uthman. He is the closest companion to me in my character trait. Right? This is what the Prophet of Allah, who لا ينطق عن الهوى, Prophet Muhammad, when he says this person is great, he is great. You and I are different. You might think this is great, but not. But Sayyidina Muhammad, he has wahy, he has farasa, he can see through you and so on. So for Sayyidina Uthman to get this great honor, that shows you who he is from the very beginning. Now he got married to Ruqayya, and the torture in Mecca became so severe. And he decided, the Prophet allowed them to immigrate to Abyssinia, which is Ethiopia. Why? Because there's a king that was a Christian king that was very just, and nobody would experience injustice in his kingdom. So Sayyidina Uthman took his wife and went there. And look at, now the Prophet has so many of his top companions, Sayyidina Ja'far ibn Abi Talib and his wife, Sayyidina Uthman and Ruqayya, and so many others immigrated to Abyssinia. So that was, she's still his daughter. Yes, he's concerned about everyone. But whenever anybody comes from Ethiopia, the Prophet would ask about the companions, how they're living, what is their problem, and kind of thing. So one day a lady was coming, so the Prophet asked her to come, and he asked her about everybody, and he said, "How is Ruqayya and Uthman?" She said, "Ya Rasulullah, I haven't seen this in my life. One of the richest Arabs, if not the richest of all the Arabs, your daughter is riding and he is holding the animal. That's unheard of. Uthman holding the animal because Ruqayya is riding. This is the haya, the modesty that he has towards the Prophet of Allah and the daughter of the Prophet and the wife that he loves, and also I love her so much that I cannot allow any man to come close to hold the camel for her or to hold the donkey for her, whatever it is. No, all right? So the Prophet smiled. He was so happy to hear this. Right? Now, Sidna Uthman is back, Ruqayya is back, and the immigration started from Mecca to Medina. So Sayyidina Uthman has a second immigration. The first one in Ethiopia, Habasha, second one to Medina. And he also has two wives. First one Ruqayya, second one is, so he became the Nurayn, the man who has two lights, and also the man with two hijras, fi sabilillah, both of them fi sabilillah. Right? That is, now he went to Mecca, to Medina, And in Medina, as you all know, right after the first year, Quraysh came in, and it was the Battle of Badr. The Battle of Badr, Quraysh came, as you all know, with about 1,000 fighters, and the Prophet with his group was about 300. Now, Ruqayya is very sick with measles. And the Prophet and Uthman looking at each other, both of them wants to say the same thing. The Prophet as a father wants Uthman to stay behind to take care of his sick daughter. Especially Sayyidah Khadija already died, so nobody's available to take care of her. And Uthman wants to take permission from the Prophet to stay behind to take care of Ruqayya, right? In the meantime, he really wanted to be part of the battle in Badr. He was torn. So the Prophet told him, "Ya Uthman, stay behind, take care of Ruqayya," and that's what he did. Now, alhamdulillah, the Muslim became winner, and the Battle of Badr was a great success, great news. The Prophet coming back, and what is the bad news? Ruqayya passed away. And it was just a mixed feeling. Yes, we're so happy that Allah gave us a great victory, but also Ruqayya is gone. But the Prophet, but the Sayyidina Uthman has a different kind of problem. Not only he lost his wife and his best friend and the one he loved so much, but he lost the direct connection with Prophet Muhammad, which was very painful to him, that he is no longer physically son-in-law with Prophet Muhammad, right? And that was really very hard on him. So this is, after Ruqayya and Kulthum, he married others. But inshallah, we'll get to it when we go to his death. So Sayyidina Uthman witnessed all the battles with Prophet Muhammad. He, other than Badr, and even in Badr, the Prophet considered him attending. And when there was spoils of war, when the Prophet was dividing the spoils of war, he said, "This is Uthman's share." Why? Because Uthman wanted to come. So we as Muslims, we know that Uthman attending all the battles with Prophet Muhammad, he never hesitated. Now we're going to discuss al-haya. Again, you remember the hadith that Sayyidah Aisha said that the Prophet was sitting and his thigh was showing, and Abu Bakr got in, he didn't straighten. Sayyidina Umar got in, he didn't change. Uthman got, he got up and he straightened himself, right? And then she asked for an explanation. And he told her, "Ya Aisha, ألا أستحي من رجل تستحي منه الملائكة?" Should I have haya from a man that the angel has haya towards him? What's haya? If anybody wants to say, I'll let you give you a chance. Anybody wants to explain what haya means? Type. The translation is modesty. But you know what? Al-haya is, if you try to say it's modesty, you're cutting big portion of the meaning of al-haya. As usual, the Arabic language has so many meanings for one word that one English word is not going to be able to explain it, right? So what is haya? There's more than one definition, but I'll tell you, al-haya basically is a knowledge of who is your Lord and a feeling developed in your heart saying, I have to be humble, I have to be observant, I have to be modest, I have to be careful dealing with this great Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So realizing the so-called magnificence, mighty and grandiousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This kind of realization, which if we are, all of us, have this feeling towards Allah, اللي هي know Him the way we should. If we really know Allah the way we should, then we'll have haya. One companion asked, Ya Rasulullah, what's haya? He told him, I'm sorry, he didn't say he said, Awsini ya Rasulullah, give me a good advice. He said, I want you to have haya from Allah like you have haya from someone important in your community, someone practicing and respectable and pious and whoever it is. How do you have haya with this? If you have haya from Allah like this, even though who is this compared to Allah? I give you an example. I was teaching in Bergen Community College, and there's one of the Muslim brothers who he prays, he's good. The only thing I was walking by, and he was sitting with a girl. I'm not saying doing anything haram or saying anything wrong. I just sitting with her. And then he looked at me, he got up and he walked away, and she's looking at him. What happened? Did you get bitten by a snake or something? What happened? Why are you leaving, right? I know he has haya from his teacher that see me sitting talking, right? But in the meantime, as soon as he met me in the class, he kept swearing to Allah to tell me the truth, and the truth was why he has haya from his teacher, right? So the Prophet was telling this companion, have haya from Allah the way you have haya from an older person that is you respect and this and that, right? Even though this is not, who am I to have haya compared to who's Allah, right? But this is the thing. We fear people, astaghfirullah, more than we fear Allah. And this is lack of haya. Let me go over some of the definition of haya. The Quran defined haya in 4 ayah, and the Prophet defined haya in 5 hadith, right? The first ayah is in Surah Al-Qalam. أَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَرَى. Doesn't he know that Allah sees? This ayah is addressing each one of us. Don't you know, whenever you say something, whenever you do something, whenever you look at something, whenever you give something, whenever you do any act or say anything, don't you know that Allah sees, right? And this is if I tell you what, when I give you the rest of the hadith and ayat, you will say, "Whoa, this is our deen." As a matter of fact, there's hadith. One Bedouin went to Prophet Muhammad, said, "Ya Rasulullah, al-haya'u min ad-din is haya." The way I defined to you a few minutes ago is part of our deen. You know what the Prophet said? "Bal ad-dinu kullu." Rather, the deen in its entirety. Al-haya is the whole deen is haya. And inshallah, before we leave, it will be clear. The other ayah says, Surah An-Nisa, "Inna Allah kana alaykum raqiba." Verily, Allah is overseeing and watching over all of you. In your relationship with your wife, with your sister, with your mother, with your father, with your neighbors, with any relationship, Allah is raqib. Any institution, any company or corporation, they have a job for raqib, muraqabat al-jawda, someone who is overseeing the quality control. Someone is overseeing the quality of individuals. Someone seeing how good the performance can be. There is overseeing in every corporation. Otherwise, it will not work. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am the one. I am the one. Inna Allah kana alaykum raqiba. Allah verily is the one that is overseeing and watching all your performance. The third ayah says this. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. You believer, fear Allah, and that you hear this ayah in every khutbah, every imam in the Jum'ah prayer repeat the same ayah. You believer, fear Allah the way it should be and do not die unless you are Muslim. And put few lines under the word حق تقاته, the way you should. All right? If this brother that was embarrassed that me seeing him in the college, right? How about Allah, right? If we have fear of Allah, haqqa tuqatih, then trust me, you can die any minute, you guaranteed Jannah, one-way ticket. If you have the word حق تقاته, the way it's proportional to your knowledge of Allah. All right? The fourth ayah is scary a little bit. يعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. What is خائنة? He knows خائنة الأعين. What's خائنة الأعين? You're walking with your wife and there's another beautiful woman walking by and you go like this. It's such a way that your wife will know that you didn't turn your head. You just go like this. This is خائنة الأعين, right? وما تخفي الصدور, and what's inside your heart. And this is the problem. If someone knows خائنة الأعين, okay, I'll behave myself. But وما تخفي الصدور, that's a different story. What the chest hides, this is a very scary. Just to give you an example, if you decided to steal from one of the department store, shoplifting, right? If you have, if there is surveillance, individual guards, you will make sure that nobody sees you, and you can fool them. How about if there's a camera? You also can fool the camera, stay in the zone where the camera is not covering. How about if there is a machine by the entrance and the exit that if you have something that is not checked by the cashier, it will zzz and make noise, right? You can go around the thing, you don't have to go through it, right? But how about if there is a machine that knows what is going on in your mind and your heart? You will never steal, because it will pick you from among anybody else. Come on, we already know what's going on in your mind. And this is the ayah says, Allah knows خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور, whatever in chest, right? So this is haya. This is the Quran says. Now look at the hadith of Prophet Muhammad. He says, Al-Iman bid'un wa sab'una shu'bah. Iman is 70 some branch. أعلاها, the highest, لا إله إلا الله. We know what La ilaha illallah means. Anybody wants translation for this? Then go home. No. La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. All right? So, La ilaha illallah, this is the highest branch of Iman. What is the lowest? You remove some piece of glass from the road or some piece of steel, whatever it is, that can hurt a car, a tire, someone. Right? You remove this from the road. And the Prophet said, وَالْحَيَاءُ شُعْبَةٌ مِّن شُعَبِ الْإِيمَانِ. And the haya is one of the branches of Iman. Why is this? La ilaha illallah is what? Knowledge and beliefs. Removing things from the road is what? Action. Al-haya is what? Is in the heart, right? And if the heart is alive, you are alive. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about some of us who are alive. He say, أموات غير أحياء وما يشعرون أيان يبعث. They are dead, even though we're healthy and we're strong and walking around. But in Allah's eyes, we're dead. Why? Because the heart is dead. The heart has no muraqabah. It has no feeling that Allah is seeing him, right? And the worst thing is to reach the point that you think you're doing things, Allah is not watching you, right? So here, and the Prophet say, لِكُلِّ دِينٍ خُلُقٍ. Every deen has a character trait. وَخُلُقُ الْإِسْلَامِ الْحَيَاء. And the character trait of Islam is al-haya, right? What is the root word of haya, right? Are you guys awake? Nobody's falling asleep? I can stop and give you a joke. You want a joke? Al-haya, from the same root word of al-haya, which is life, right? It's the same word. Al-haya and al-haya. Al-haya, life. Al-haya is, if we're going to translate modesty, temporarily, then both of them has the same root word, right? And the Prophet said, Al-iman wal-haya توأمان إذا ذهب أحدهما ذهب الآخر. Al-haya and iman are twins. If one of them goes, the other one goes. If you have no haya, you have no iman. If you have no iman, you have no haya. All right? Again, this is scary a little bit. Yeah, so we need to reconsider. And that's why, brother and sisters, we are discussing Uthman ibn Affan, the champion of haya. Why is champion of haya? Sayyidina Uthman, before Islam, you know that he was modest, he was humble, he was polite, he no arrogance, no very generous. Everybody loves him. But in the meantime, Sayyidina Uthman never made sujood to an idol. He all the time never believed in idols, right? But on top of this, he says something. He said, Wallahi, when they came to kill him, he said, Wallahi, I never committed adultery or fornication before Islam or after Islam. After Islam is understood. But before Islam, it wasn't something bad. Mecca had this houses all over, and there wasn't, for someone rich, this is really, yeah, look at Trump. Everything is, because he's rich, he can do whatever he wants to do, right? And he did. But Sayyidina Uthman, before Islam, he was a pure person, never, before Islam, never committed any kind of fornication or adultery whatsoever. I cannot say adultery because he was not married, but I use the word fornication. He never did. The other thing about him, he said something very interesting. He said, Wallahi, since I put my hands in Prophet Muhammad's hands and said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa annaka Rasulullah, when I was bathing, I never touched my private parts with my right hand because it was in Prophet Muhammad's hands. Cannot do it. And before Islam, when he used to take a bath, he will curl his body around himself. He doesn't want to be seen. Even though at this time, he did not that there's angels, right? And by the way, all this information came to Sayyidina Muhammad, not from Sayyidina Uthman, from the angels, from Sayyidina Jibreel, right? So this kind of person, when he hears the word La ilaha illallah, he just quickly slide in, no problem. Very simple, right? The only thing Islam started, taking this beautiful person to make him a great star. Died 1400 years ago, but the light is still coming, like the stars that perished a long time ago. The light is still coming. The haya of Sayyidina Uthman is why we're discussing haya now, right? Look at again the hadith that the Prophet said. Al-haya'u la ya'ti illa bi khayr. If you have haya, it will never bring you anything but good stuff. He will bring you what? He will bring you that you will never say a bad word. You will never hurt the feeling of anyone. You will never deceive someone. You will never cheat someone. You have haya. All right? You have haya from Allah. So that's obviously, al-haya all the time will bring nothing but good things. All right? And that's what the Prophet is saying. This hadith, the last one in this group is إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِي فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. The Prophet says, me and the previous Prophet before me, Abraham, Noah, most whatever it is, said something in common, all of us. We said that if you have no haya, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. If'al ma shi'at. What will put limitation? There is nothing to limit you. There is nothing to prohibit you from doing something bad. Why should you? Right? You have no fear of Allah. You have no haya. Right? Then the hadith, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِي فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ, is clear cut. طيب. Let us see haya and the Muslim ummah now, right? I'm not going to attack us as a lousy generation, brother and sister. No, I just want you to get to know something that is all the time being planned. We know that the sisters in Syria are raped right and left. We know that the Assad and the Russian and we know the sister in Iraq has been humiliated for money just to get something to feed their kids. Humiliation. We know the sister in Somalia cannot find food to feed their own kids. And some of them will do anything to feed her kids. And some of them leave. She has 3 kids walking with her, and she cannot reach the other dimension, the other direction with the 3 kids. So she will leave one to die because she cannot sit with him. He cannot go, he cannot make it, and leave your children to die. It's in Somalia. In Egypt, the regime was doing the same thing to stop the girls, because the girls were very aggressive in the revolution against the coup in Egypt. To humiliate them, it was rape, it's so-called examining them to see if she's a virgin or not. All this humiliation, all right? And the West was worried about one thing. Not this women in Ethiopia, in Egypt, in Iraq, in Syria. You know what he's worried about? The poor Saudi women, Habibti, they are not driving. Isn't it sad? This is the only thing that you're worried about? That the Saudi women are not driving? Wallahi, after the Saudi men starting letting them drive, you know what happened, brother and sister? It used to be, he's the man, she's sitting in the car giving a list, go do the shopping. And she's in the car and he comes, giving the oh no, go back, you forgot the milk, goes back. Now, you know what's happening? He sits in the car and she goes do the shopping. Right? That is the freedom that so we brother and sister should not be deceived by what the West says about us. Right? Don't take advice from someone who doesn't care about you. That's why the Quran is saying clearly, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, inna ash-shaytana, you believer, shaitan is an enemy for you. فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا, take him as an enemy. How can you go consult and take your values and your recommendation for someone that actually not only does not care about your deen, he's fighting your deen. Right? Then we have to be wise up who should give us advice and who should come from him. Let me just give you some examples about the haya. A French captain in the French army. You need to take a break for 2-3 minutes? You're fine? No, I'm fine. I'm talking about you. A French captain was saying this. He was saying this, France occupied Algeria. And you know how many they killed? 1 million, the least estimate, right? And they used to go search for the mujahideen, those who are fighting the occupation. And what they do when they go to the houses? Rape the women, right? So he said, the Algerian women were amazing. When they see us coming, they ran to the barn and get the cow manure and spread over their body. So when we come to do what we want to do, they stink, so we have to leave them. He said, I used to admire these women, even though they spoiled what he has in his head, but for her to rush and put the dirt and the filth on her body so he would not touch her, that is the haya. In the good old days, brother and sister, see, now they succeeded, the enemies of Allah succeeded in stripping our sisters from some haya and from modesty in the way they dress. In the good old days, there was the doctors, the psychiatrist or the psychologist. If some woman, she had paralysis, she cannot move her arms or her legs, paralyzed. So they brought the doctor. The doctor, in that time, long time ago, he came in and he decided to use the haya as a tool to cure her. So he came in and that's her skirt, okay, to pull her skirt. Just pull her skirt. So the paralyzed woman, she went like this and covered herself. The paralyzed woman that cannot move her arm, because of the huge power of haya, she found herself, every cell in her body pushing adrenaline, whatever it is, and she covered herself. So he what? And so he said, like, Alhamdulillah, she's fine now. Right? See, the, let us, I'll give you another example of haya. A new Muslim sister. I was in Jersey City in the masjid when she called me and she said, are you a sheikh? I said, what is the problem first? I tell you, if it's a little thing, I can do it. If it's a big thing, I'll give you the big sheikh, right? She said, brother, I am in the emergency room. And a new Muslim. I'm in the emergency room. And my urinary tract is blocked. She cannot urinate. And the urine is in the end, is not moving. And she might be in danger, right, of being toxic, because it might be poisoned. If you leave her, be period, can kill her. She said, so far I'm telling them no man will, because there's only one man who can do it. He's a urologist, he's a man. And I'm not allowing him. Can you give me a fatwa? Are you sheikh? I said, yeah, I give you a fatwa. Let him do it, right? Why, brother and sister? Look at this woman few months ago. Her body means nothing to her. She will be in the beach with a bathing suit, no big deal. But when Islam kicks in, haya kicks in, right? My body became precious, right? And all the conventions that has been done to liberate the Muslim women was done where? One in Egypt, one in Malaysia, one in Pakistan, and all of them about liberating the Muslim woman, the oppressed one. You know what they want to liberate her from? From her clothes. And wallahi, and I can give you, just go look at the UN conference about in Egypt in 19 or in Pakistan, Malaysia. All of them, the recommendation was basically the Muslim woman has the right to date before marriage, has the right, has the right. All of it is basically strip the Muslim woman. Why? Because the Muslim woman, like the Jewish women, was behind keeping the religion intact and strong. So we need, if we're going to fight Islam, let us fight him through women and Quran and the language. These are the major things. If we destroy the mother, then there was no future for Islam. If you destroy the Arabic language, you cut them from access, whatever it is, to the Quran. But anyhow, the fight and the power, the efforts to get the Muslim woman to be drifting away from haya is intentional and is being done in a very systematic way. And the latest, wallahi, I'm listening to a TV station in Egypt, and I just want to throw up, as if like khalas, yani now what is wrong with being it's to be proud you're a single mom, you're proud to be Shafi. What do you mean single mom? Why didn't you work on making the family strong again? No, be single mom. Enjoy life. You don't have to even to get married, right? And if you have a child, the government will help, right? This is spreading the filth. This is removing the haya for the most valuable assets in the Muslim ummah, who are the mothers and the daughters. So I said Sayyidina Uthman has 4 striking features, right? I mentioned 2, and we have 2 more to go. Sayyidina Uthman and his relationship with Allah's book. And inshallah, after you listen to this, make intention. Ramadan is less than 6 weeks away. Make intention that inshallah your relationship with the Quran is going to be as strong as it can be. Inshallah. Sayyidina Uthman, he was sitting with Prophet Muhammad and Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Umar. And you know, the Prophet, when he sits with this closed circuit, he all the time has beautiful questions. So he asked each one of them, what is the best thing that you like about this dunya? Sayyidina Abu Bakr said what he wanted. Sayyidina Umar said what he wanted. And when it came to Sayyidina Uthman time, he said like, إطعام الطعام, feed the poor, وكسوة العريان, and give clothes to the one who doesn't have, and وتلاوة القرآن, and love to recite and Quran either in tahajjud or in straightforward from the Quran. And if you look at his life, he did this beautifully, feeding the hungry and giving clothes to those who have no clothing, the poor, and the Quran. His relationship with the Quran was unique. And don't be discouraged of what you're going to say, what I'm going to say, because again, I told you from the beginning, don't say, oh, you're going to keep saying he used to recite this and that, and we cannot do this, you're discouraging us. No, this is the greatest figure, and we're trying. Just take them as your best example and try to imitate to the best of your ability. Don't be discouraged, right? Sayyidina Uthman, his wife, used to say that he has qiyam al-layl every night. Every night he has tahajjud. And it was known about him that he finishes the whole Quran in one night. The whole Quran. Right? Don't look at me like this. Right? He scared me. He in one night, right? I do not know how, but that is correct narration that Uthman was in love with the Quran. And his wife used to tell him, we have so many servants. Why don't you wake them up? Yeah, and he said, no, Uthman has tons of people serving him, right? Why don't you wake them up to help you, to get you water, to make whatever it is? He said, no. Al-laylu lahum. The night is for them to rest. And one day, one of his servants annoyed him. Sayyidina Uthman took his ear and what do you call it? Squeeze it like this. I don't know what do you call it. Pinch? Yeah, pinch, but going back and forth, It is this one. It doesn't matter what is it, right? So, and then after he did this, he called him right away, come back. He said, Naam ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Now, don't forget, this is the master and this is a slave. And this Amir al-Mu'mineen, not only a master, right? He said, come here, squeeze my ear. The guy said, are you kidding? I cannot even touch you. He said, squeeze my ear. So, and when he realized now, Uthman got angry, he held his ear like this. Hey, look at me. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. What's in the door? He said, he said, now, the guy held his ear like this. He said, squeeze hard. So he squeezed hard, right? And he said, this is better. This way, I don't want to face the consequences of judgment. I hurt you, please forgive me, right? That is a tender-hearted person. So the Quran to him was priority number one. And when Sayyidina Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman came to him, he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, we have a problem. In his time, Islam spread all over, right? And there's so many non-Arab came to Islam. I'm not saying non-Arab, that means derogatory, right? There's no preference except for piety, right? But every group comes with their culture and their thinking and their philosophy, right? So it became a phenomena that this one reciting the Quran a different way, this one different way, and Sayyidina Uthman got very worried. So he decided to do the following: collect every Quran in every part of the Muslim Ummah, from east to west, north to south. And he got he made 6 copies of the Quran and sent one to Turkey, one to Egypt, one to Iraq, one to Mosul, and he kept one in Medina. And he unified the Muslim Ummah in one recitation. Until today, the Quran that we have here is called Mus'haf Uthman. Al-Rasm al-Uthmani. Until today, this Quran is Quran, the text of Uthman. Right? What a great honor for someone that fell in love with Allah's book, that Allah's book will carry his name, Al-Mus'haf bil-Rasm al-Uthmani. Exactly the way it was written during Sayyidina Uthman time. All right? So this is the second thing about Sayyidina Uthman. With this love of the Quran and love of Qiyam al-Layl wa Tahajjud, there was ayah was revealed for Sayyidina Uthman. A Quran revealed describing Sayyidina Uthman. The ayah says, أَمَّنْ هُوَ قَانِتٌ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ سَاجِدًا وَقَائِمًا يَحْذَرُ الْآخِرَةَ وَيَرْجُو رَحْمَةَ رَبِّهِ. Is the one that is all night, قانتا, standing, القنوت, when you have khushu' and humbleness in your salah, doing this, either standing or making sujood. بص لي على يحذر الآخرة, he's concerned about the hereafter, and يرجو رحمة ربه, and seeking his Lord's mercy. This is the one. هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين يعلمون? Is the one who knows is like the one who doesn't know? No, this ayah was revealed in Sayyidina Uthman, describing his affinity and his love for Allah's book. All right? This is Sayyidina Uthman. The last one, inshallah, yeah, we have 7-8 minutes, and that we need more, but inshallah, we'll try to finish it in that. Which is Sayyidina Uthman as a great investor. He knows how to invest. Give you some investment. You know, usually when I came to America, there was a guy from Florida. He wants us to invest in land in Florida because going to flourish is going to be مش عارف whatever it is. And we all bought land in Florida. We don't know what we're buying anyhow. And then it turned out to be one of these lands that you will never use, which is like, what do you call it, middle woodland that you will never use. But we invested, alhamdulillah, all right? But I don't know where it is now. I don't even have documents to it. But look at Sayyidina Uthman investment. And wallahi, brother and sister, all the rich companion, Khadija, richest, one of the richest, Uthman, Abu Bakr, Abdullah, yani, all the rich one, they know how to invest, right? Sayyidina Uthman is the one that invested heavily in real estate in Jannah. And I mean real estate in Jannah. Give you an example. One day, there was a drought and people were dying for water. And the Prophet said, who can buy the well of Roma, and I guarantee here a big spring in Jannah. Sayyidina Uthman in a second, Ana Rasulullah. He doesn't wait for anybody to beat him to it, which is, the Quran says, Sabiqu, race. When you see something like this, don't drag your feet. Like the fundraising, when Sheikh Atani started asking for money, he said, inshallah, 500. And then you look, no, inshallah, 300. And you keep going until it becomes 50, right? No, Sayyidina Uthman, Ana Rasulullah, without knowing how much it's going to cost. You know, brother, how much does it cost? It cost to him, with our current money, $1.5 million was our current money. And the way he bought it is, he went to the Jew, the guy who owns it, and he told him, I want to buy it. He said, oh no, because he is selling the water in a very high price, and the companion has no choice. He said, you know what, see how smart businessman he is. He told him, sell me half of it. He said, what do you mean? He said, I used it one day and used one day. The guy knows that Uthman is a big businessman, so both of us will really profit from this, because I'm going to get this $1.5 million, but in the meantime, I still have half the water well. Sayyidina Uthman bought it, and then he made his day. Each one has a day. His day for free for the Muslims. Not only you take as much as you want. So in his day, the Muslim filled the container. In the next day, the guy is waiting. Nobody's coming, right? Because tomorrow is going to be free, right? So he went to him. You destroyed my material. The guy did not expect a businessman like Uthman to make this mistake, right? But he doesn't understand that Uthman is a businessman for the hereafter too, right? So what was the decision? I'll see you the rest of that. He bought the rest of the will, and he made the whole thing every day for the Muslim free. And the Prophet, don't forget, he at that time he was his son-in-law, right? He was making dua. Allahumma inni radi an Uthman, Allahumma arda an Uthman. Allahumma inni radi an Uthman, Allahumma arda an Uthman. Ya Allah, 3 times. Ya Allah, I'm pleased with Uthman, be pleased with him. Allah, I'm pleased. And you know what? If Sayyidina Muhammad said this, guaranteed Allah will be pleased with Uthman, right? Now comes a very tough battle. It's called Ghazwat Mu'tah. And the army that was going in this called Gaish al-Usra means what? That difficult, tough Ghazwa. Why? It wasn't Tabuk. Tabuk is far away from Medina, right? And it was in the summer, tough time. And the road from this to Tabuk has no rest areas or trees or garden area. No, it's just you're going to be in a very tough weather. In the meantime, you cannot do this ghazwa on feet, right? So the Prophet start asking, I need money to get camels and horses and ammunition and all the stuff. So at that time, the companions got, this one comes with a little bit of dates. Someone can that much dates. Everyone comes. And this day, Sayyidina Abu Bakr came. Sayyidina Umar said, I had money. Inshallah, today I'm going to beat Abu Bakr. So he brought half of all his money. And he said, now I'm waiting for Abu Bakr to come because I'm a winner. So Abu Bakr came in with all his money. And he put in front of the Prophet. But all this was still little, far away from financing the battle. So the Prophet kept looking at. So Sayyidina Uthman had a caravan of 100 camel loaded going to Asham. He called them, said, bring everybody back. He brought and he told him, Ya Rasulullah, this is for the battle. He saw that the Prophet's face glowed of happiness, right? This feeling, but the Prophet said, we still need more, right? Sayyidina Uthman went home and came back with 200 camel. Don't forget, 100 already given, 200 fully loaded, right? Yani full option. Well, this was a joke. Smile, right? Fully loaded, right? And he looked, the impression, the reaction of Prophet Muhammad's face was he loved it. But the Prophet still said, we need more finance. He went back and brought another 300 until brother, he brought 940 camels loaded. And on top of this, he went and got 60 horses also fully loaded. Is that all? No. He went and brought 1,000 uqiyya, ounce of gold, and a big number of silver. And he put in the Prophet's lap. And the Prophet kept going like this with the gold, right? And he said, ما ضر عثمان ما فعل بعد اليوم. Nothing will ever harm Uthman after today. Today, he got the guarantee that he is 100% safe and secure with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ما ضر عثمان ما فعل بعد اليوم. 3 times, right? The battle, Ghazwat Tabuk, was... Can you give me 5 minutes, Sheikh? Can we postpone the Isha 5 minutes? Who said no? Go home, Sheikh, go. Oh, here? طيب. No, I just want to make sure that he has health insurance. طيب. So he said, Ghazwat Tabuk was right after Ghazwat Mu'tah. Ghazwat Mu'tah was the year before, and in this Ghazwa, there was 2,000 Muslim against 100,000 from the Roman Empire. And they give him hell, right? And then the Roman got the news. Now, an army of 10,000 or 30,000, I'm not sure, with Prophet Muhammad in them are in their way. So the Romans said, like 2,000 made our life miserable without Muhammad with them. Now Muhammad with them, and this number, they decided to withdraw. And the Prophet won the battle and all the spoils of war without fighting. In the way back, he decided, now I have tons of camels and horses to Uthman and money. So he decided, Ya Uthman, take your stuff back. He said, Ya Rasulullah, anything that leaves my jurisdiction for Allah, it will never come back to me. Right? Then the Prophet made dua to him again. Now, I just want to. There was a house next to Prophet Muhammad house, and the Prophet wanted. So house was Prophet Muhammad house is next to the masjid. Or the masjid, it opened to the masjid. So Prophet Muhammad wanted to expand the masjid, and this house is very expensive. Then the Prophet said, Man yashtari lana, who is going to buy us this house, and I guarantee him house in Jannah. Who jumps to the Sayyidina Uthman. Why? Anytime Sayyidina Uthman hear the word investment in Jannah, his antennas goes up and he raises his hand regardless the cost. And he went to the guy, the owner, and the owner said, that's all I have, whatever it is. So Uthman told him, just name your price. It went to $1.5 million again with our current money, right? And the Prophet said, no. And the interesting thing, brother and sister, this house Sayyidina Uthman bought and added to the masjid, that is where half Rawda Sharifa is. So Sayyidina Uthman actually owns half Rawda Sharifa, that we all fight to pray 2 rak'ah in it. Is that all? No, brother and sister, there's more. When Prophet Muhammad went and opened Mecca to Islam, the haram was very, very crowded. There's houses, whatever it is. He asked again, who can help us buy homes and so we can expand the masjid? Who raised his hand without hesitation? Sayyidina Uthman. So if you look at this, you know that the good businessman in the dunya, when he has La ilaha illallah in his heart, he's still a great businessman in the akhirah. Right? People, عشان كده القرآن يقول لك إيه هل أدلكم على تجارة لن تبور. Can I tell you, can I guide you to a business that will never go bad? Alright, تؤمنون بالله, believe in Allah, وتجاهدون في سبيله بأموالكم وأنفسكم, and make jihad in His path with your amwal, your money, and yourself, your soul. Right? This Sayyidina Uthman was a typical example of this. Right? So to make a long story, all right, there's a big chapter about his death, but I'm not going to hold you more than that. Inshallah, in one khatara we'll talk about his death, which is very sad, but it's worth mentioning to avoid things like this. So again, when we discuss Sayyidina Uthman, brothers and sisters, we remember the following: al-haya, modesty if we want to, businessman mentality, making trade with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Dhul Nurayn, the man that married to the Prophet's 2 daughters, right? And the man that Allah used to get the Quran, get together and remove all the discrepancy and preserve it until today. We meet when you read, it's called Mus'haf Uthman or Al-Mus'haf Bil-Rathim Al-Usmani. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the pleasure to be with Sayyidina Uthman and with our beloved Prophet and all the great companions. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم.